Hey you guys, it's Auntie L, your garden auntie, and I wanted to do an update. It's the beginning of 2024 season. Today is April 11th. I've been growing stuff for the last, I don't know, couple months, but I have not posted a video on YouTube in a couple years, y'all tell me. It's been a while, but I've been growing. Things are still processing. The garden is still matriculating and changing every year, adding new beds, moving things around. So I wanted to do a quick update video at the start of the season and to let you all know some of the things that we have going on for 2024. I'm going to start with a little bit of a tour, and then I'm going to get into the announcement for this year, so that this video can serve as a reference point for people who might be interested, right? So a couple years ago, everything's gonna be y'all seeing what's going on first, so we'll turn around. So some of y'all may remember I switched over from quail to chickens a couple years ago. These are the chickens that I currently have. That is my one remaining rabbit from when I raised rabbits for those 2 or 3 years. And this is my rooster, my new rooster. I just got him last summer. This is 3 10-foot by 10-foot dog kennels that I have run together. So it's 300 square feet of space for my chickens. And I love this for them. I'm going to be growing some stuff along this front, some vining things, which is why I have these panels here so they don't peck it out or kill it before it has a chance to provide the cover that they're going to need in the heat of summer. The thing I don't like about this is that it has this sort of canvas cover on it, and when it rains, this sags. So I'm going to be replacing this roof with this stuff. I don't know how that's going to work, but you know, everything is a process and everything is a trial and error. So we're going to be replacing that to see how that works, and then hopefully I'll be able to run a gutter along the edge and collect rainwater that will be used in an auto waterer for the chickens. I have 2 plum trees that I planted maybe last year before last, and we got plums. This is the first year we got plums. I'm gonna come out here and pick some of these baby plums off just because this is still a young tree, and this is a lot of fruit for this to have to put on. And by the time these plums get to full size, this branch, which is thinner than my finger, would be, you know, hanging down really far. So I'm gonna be going back through and picking some of these unripe plums off of that. My other plum tree has a couple of plums on it, not nearly as many, and that's okay. This is my established asparagus bed, and there are 4 established plants in here, and then I just put 4 more, I think 4 more, 3 or 4 more asparagus plants in here, and then I put the rest, so about 6 asparagus plants in this bed. And so I'm hoping that these will come up this year. It takes about 3 years before you can actually get asparagus out of them. And in order to get like a plate of asparagus, you kind of need 7 or 8 plants. So that way they're putting up new spears all at the same time. But yep, if I just wanted to have like an asparagus as a snack, I could probably eat this one. It might even be a little bit too big to harvest, but that's what we're working with over here. A few onions, garlic, some radishes back there from last fall that I'm letting those go to seed, so I'll have radish seeds for this winter. The pomegranates are doing good. I've actually got some flowers coming in. I don't see any right now, but I've got some. I know I saw some flowers on the pomegranates that were starting to bud. There we go. Pomegranate flower buds. We've got some potatoes started, collard greens. There's some spinach in there. We've got peas growing along the trellises. You can see those pea flowers over there. More potatoes. Close up on the pea flowers. More potatoes. These are volunteer pumpkins that came up from some compost. Raspberries that are eagerly spreading through these 2 beds. So this is the original raspberry plant here, but it's popping up over here. There's several of them over here. And we've got more raspberries there, another one there, and then one over there. So probably next year, this entire 2 beds, which these are both 3 by 5, so 6 feet by 5 feet, will just be all raspberries. I'm gonna have to keep these managed though, because these raspberries have thorns, and I know that I won't pick the raspberries if I have to come back and dig through thorns. So I have to make sure that I keep these manageable. This is the comfrey bed. And of course the fig tree, which is figging out, ready to produce leaves so we can get some figs in the fall. These are plants, starts that I purchased to go into the garden, in addition to some herbs and also some things that I've started from seed. Tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, tomatillo. There's some melons over there and cucumbers. We got some ginger that we've started. These are our existing strawberry beds. And we've already got a few strawberries, waiting to get some color on those. A few strawberries back in there too. So yeah. So some of y'all remember the video that I did when I put these beds in on the side of the house. So I have one long bed, was actually several beds, but it makes one long bed that goes along the fence. I had some elderberry in there. It was a wild elderberry that I brought in, but I ended up getting a cultivated elderberry that produces much more prolifically. And so I decided to get rid of the wild elderberry in order to have more of those. This is a mulberry, which is, you know, getting ready to start blushing, and those berries will be edible in a few weeks. And it's awesome because this thing is really producing. You can see that these branches are just loaded. I'm gonna try to keep it low. So I'm gonna actually cut this mulberry tree so that I get all of my growth here where I can get to it. And then I'm gonna try to air layer that top piece to bring it over to this space where the other elderberry was. I have a blackberry. I started a new blackberry bed. My original blackberry bed is over on the opposite fence. But this is, I love blackberry preserves. So I started a second blackberry bed and it's doing well. This one is a blackberry that has pink flowers. The other blackberry has white flowers. This is just a bed of mixed greens that I use in salad mixes. There's some arugula, some kale, a couple different types of kale actually in here. So I use that in my winter lettuce mixes, or rather greens salad mixes. And then I've started another bed of these same greens over here, so that way I can start to pick from these through the late spring and summer, as these are already gone to seed. This is that prolific elderberry I was just mentioning. And this elderberry has only been in the ground for 2 years, but it is beautiful. It's massive, and when it flowers, it just produces huge clusters of berries. Each of those little dots is going to be a flower, and then each of those flowers will be a berry, and it's going to produce just a ton of elderberries this year. I'll have enough to make elderberry syrup for myself, as well as to give it away, sell it, and do other things with it as well. In these side boxes, I've got more collards. I've got some zucchini growing in some of them, some more zucchini and yellow squash in those. We've got flower mix in here, which is marigolds, calendulas, zinnias, and cosmos. Waiting on those to come up. These are my volunteer mustards. I grew these mustards once, probably 2 years ago, and maybe 3 years ago, and now they just come up on their own, just from seed. So I will let these ones go to seed now, and they will drop some of the seeds, all over the place. And then I will also harvest some of those seeds so that I can have the mustards exactly where I want them. This is my side yard cherry tree. And then I have another cherry tree in the front as well. This is the front yard cherry tree. I've not gotten any cherries. It did flower for the first time this year. But we'll see if we actually get even 1 or 2 cherries would be nice, just to kind of see what they look like, what they taste like. And there's some more of those volunteer red mustards. And then this is just the front yard. My irises and peonies. I've got corn started in this bed. I'm going to be putting some peppers and eggplants in this section here. I've got more corn started over there. I've got corn started over there. We'll see how that works out with all of that mugwort coming up all over the place. We've got some more zucchini and yellow squash in here. Flowers. And then more corn in here. Okay, so what I want to talk to you all about is the CSA that we're going to be starting this year. So CSA stands for Community Supported Agriculture, or Community Supported Agribusiness. And it is basically a farm to table, farm to consumer business, where I will have subscriptions available for people who will prepay for, let's say, a box of produce, and you'll be able to come once a week, once a month, whatever that interval is that we set up, to get your box, and then you will prepay for the next box when you get the box that you're receiving that day. So the boxes of some of the questions that I've received are just like, what's going to be in the box? Here's the thing, it's going to vary. It's going to depend on what's available at that time. Right now, most of what I have coming out of the yard is salad mixes, herbs, but in a couple weeks I'll have peas coming out. Things like onions will start to come up, garlic, and then as the summer progresses, I will have the tomatoes, the cucumbers, the eggplants. I'll have berries, because my blackberries will start to produce, the raspberries will come in, the mulberries, the blueberries in the front yard. I don't even think I showed y'all those, but the blueberries. And so every time that you come in, and also of course I always have eggs because I have the chickens. And we're getting about, maybe a dozen, almost a dozen eggs a day now. So your box could be made up of, let's say, a half a dozen eggs with a salad mix, some herbs, fresh herbs. If there is peas in there, you may have some fresh peas, some snap peas, whatever is available at that time. As the summer progresses, there won't be any more peas, but you may have um, green zucchini, yellow squash, yellow summer squash, um, and berries. Then once that season is coming to a close and other things are coming into season, then you may have tomatoes, cucumbers, eggplant, peppers. There will always be things that are, staples, like the eggs, the salad mixes. Those are things that I grow all the time. Of course, the herbs and things that you can use for like tea, stuff like that. But then there will also be what we call value added products. So zucchini bread, banana bread, desserts, cookies, brownies, things like that, that are, oh, there was an inchworm on me. I'm so sorry. Squashed him. Value added products that will be added, fresh baked bread, things like that. Nut milk, because I make my own nut milk, so I'll, maybe bottled nut milk will be in there, non-dairy milk. And so those will all be things that will be in your box, and you will be on that subscription to receive that on whatever that interval is that we come up with, that works for you. And yeah, so I'm excited to be offering that this year. My goal for this year was to grow as much as I could, but I know that growing as much as I can means I'm going to grow more food than I will ever be able to use. So it's going to be important to me to preserve that food, but also to make that available through the CSA, so that other people can enjoy all of the produce, all of the vegetables and fruits that will be coming out of the yard this year. So I hope that answers some of your questions. If you have any questions about CSAs in general, or specifically the CSA that I will be doing this year, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to answer any questions. If you are local here in Atlanta, and more specifically the East Point area, and you want to take advantage of the CSA, you want to get a subscription, feel free to reach out to me. You can reach out to me on Facebook, or on Farm Fresh 24/7 on the app. I do have posts on some of the local garden groups on Facebook that I'm a member of, as well as I do have a post on the Farm Fresh 24/7 app where you can actually reach out, ask questions, and begin to subscribe for that CSA. Okay, y'all have a great rest of your day. I gotta get out here and get a couple things planted and moved and all that kind of stuff, but we will be having some more videos coming up, hopefully with a more regular schedule this year. That's always the goal, and we'll go from there. I thank you all for joining me, and welcome back to 2024.